Walaikum Assalam. Okay, so this slide we covered, I think this one, yeah, this one also we covered. Uh, so we are discussing that the RAR message uh, uh, actually addresses the basic challenges. So let me go back to the basic challenge again. We wrote down yesterday that it doesn't know how much power it should use and the what time is can properly align. And MSIS level is not important uh, until you send some data. Okay. And also uh, controller, uh, I mean controller user data, whatever it is, and also you initially don't have the resources. Okay. So the last one is said that easily handled. A pool is dedicated for Brad. We are not discussing that part in detail because I mean it will take a while to show the position for there are a few there are some provisions for different uh, type of configuration for batch resources. Uh, but the bottom line is some resources we know how the time frequency grid is. From there, a part is just reserved for batch, and that part is configured by the inode. So you can take any part from there, and but the first two things are important. Uh, actually, the first three things are taken care of by RAR. The RAR message tells you what power level you should use in the next transmission. Okay, RAR is a downlink message, but it will be followed by an uplink message, message 3. So it tells you what power level, how much changes in power you should use for message 3, and how much change in time or timing offset you should use for message 3, and what MCS level you should use for message 3. Okay, so and also you are given an identity CRNT by RAR. Okay, so we discussed what it does. Okay, so it corrects the uh, it includes a Mac control element, okay, which is a timing advance command for correction, and the RAR message includes a field TPC. Okay, so that includes the uh, required correction for uplink power. Okay, so this thing also we covered last time. Okay, sorry. Oh, I see. We have covered all these things. Okay, yeah, here we go. Well, now when there is a collision, the EV randomly chooses the random access preamble, and the time frequency grid is also chosen randomly. I mean, the part from the available pool of time frequency resource. So if it happens, although I mean probably you understand that it's very unlikely, but if it happens or it is not impossible that two users use the same time frequency resources at a time and they try with the same random access preamble. First of all, if they uh, if they use the same time frequency resource but different random access preamble, then it may happen that E node B will respond, will identify one of them, okay, which has better power reception, and for him it will respond, okay. So the other one will get unsuccessful attempt. One of one will be successful, the other will be unsuccessful. But in some cases, uh, both with significant power level, they can interfere uh, uh, heavily or cancel out the information of both of them, and the E not be, I mean, ca- may not be may not be able to understand any of them, and so both of them can be unsuccessful. But anyway, basically, you need it happens when they use the same resources. Okay, and uh, also, I mean, if it happens that you uh, return, okay, uh, but with the uh, I mean, the other guy uh, will have, sorry, uh, when they use the same random access preamble, then you see, I mean, there is a possibility that it responds, the enode will respond, and both the users, okay, find the rar message and they both uh, address to themselves, and they both are under the impression that it's a rar message for myself. So when they try to send message 3, they will collide, okay, they will transmit message 3 at the same time, because for the rar message allocates resources for message 3, allocates resources for message 3, so they both will be using the same resources. Of course, message 3 includes stmz, and so uh, when the enode B listens, okay, then if they if it can uh, listen one of them, okay, it can identify it. Anyway, the EV uses HARQ in this state. If the enode B can uh, decode the message 3 and it finds an stmz, okay, I mean with message 3, things cannot be confusing. In the first step, they can be because the same preambles both the guys can use, and the same rare message both the guys can think for themselves. Okay, because it's using uh, RA, RNT, it can be the same. It is using the rep ID, which can be the same. But message 3 includes STMC, which is unique. So in this step, there can be confusion among among the users. So one of them, someone can be successful or someone may not be. When it is successful, the inode may understand that or reads some message successfully with its STLZ. It sends a ACNAC, HRQ ACNAC for that guy. Okay, like the usual HRQ ACNAC, PHICH. On PHICH, you have on PHICH you have ACNAC for a particular user. So the user can identify that it's for me. So if the user receives HRQ ACK, then uh, accordingly, if it is ACK, okay, then it understands that okay, I'm done. SST uh, is received. Okay, so in fact, the procedure completes here. Okay, uh, and how long the UE has to wait, that is configured by the E node B. Okay, it's called condition resolution timer. Uh, okay, but of course there are also provisions for NAC. If the E node B, I mean, even if you receive, uh, uh, I mean, if you require multiple attempts, okay, there can be NAC and in the usual way, uh, because of poor radio link, message tree may not be properly decoded. So there are provisions for NAC. Okay, maximum number of HRQ transmissions is high. Okay, now if you from the EVN, if you keep trying sending and there is no ACK from the inode B, then it is unsuccessful. Okay, and if you don't hear back from the inode B, or if there is NAC and after several attempts you don't receive ACK, then it's an unsuccessful attempt. And in that case, you again wait for back of time. Okay, so it's another back of time and pick random access preamble, choose a new one and restart the whole procedure. Okay, but if it is successful, then uh, after you receive ACK, HRQ ACK, actually the random access procedure is already done. Okay, thereafter, as we showed earlier in the message flow diagram, that you send RC connection setup message. If it is RC connection establishment procedure, then the inode B will set up, will send a message RC connection setup in responding to your uh, message 3 RC connection setup message. And if it RC connection reestablishment procedure, uh, uh, then it will send RC connection reestablishment message. Okay. Now, uh, the MAC control element of this message will include, okay, which is like a header, we say. The MAC control element of this message will include the whole message tree that you sent earlier. Okay, interestingly, it includes the whole message tree. That confirms that I mean, it's for yourself. Okay, so there is a confirmation uh, of that HRQ ACNAC is for contention resolution, but this one is an acknowledgement that it could hear the message tree properly. Okay, so the whole message tree is just copied and inserted into MAC control element header. Okay, of this message, the MAC video includes the message tree. So the particular EV considers that the network has accepted me, and the message reception of message tree is also acknowledged. Okay, so then the conditional resolution is considered successful. But for the other two cases, these are the first two use cases. But for the other two cases, it's little different. When it is used for handover or for data transfer, okay, the network readily allocates resources for uh, data transfer. for further activities, which is actually data transfer. So you uh, send PDCCH instance in a response to message 3, and that allocates uplink or downlink resources which you need for data transfer. Okay, so this happens for handover or uplink downlink data transfer case. But you see that in in the case of uh, these two use case, these two situations, handover or data transfer, along with message 3, you sent CRNT. The message 3 included CRNT. So the same CRNT will be used here to scramble CRC of PDCCH. So actually you are, uh, I mean, that confirms, okay, that that message was received precisely. Okay. You included CRNT in your MAC control header of message 3, and the same CRNT is used for the scrambling of CRC of PDCCH. Okay, so that's how the contention resolution is considered successful. Yeah, the other end confirms that everything has been uh, good so far. Oh, sorry. Any questions? If if not, we'll move to non-condition based. Okay. So in this case, the you transmit some dedicated random access preamble. Uh, well, that preamble is already known by the eNode B. Like we'll see later for handover, the target eNode B sends the what preamble it has to use. Okay, via source eNode B, it forwards the random access preamble, dedicated random access preamble that it should use when it accesses the target eNode B. You move from one eNode B to another one. Okay, but the new eNode B uh, beforehand tells you what preamble you should use. Okay, you know that out of 64, a range is used for dedicated purpose. Okay, if it is 16, which one among those 16 you have to use? Uh, so when you send that random access preamble, the uh, uh, eNodeB can identify you. Then use it sends RAR message. Okay, uh, on PDSCH and associated indication on the PDCCH, and the PDCCH like before is scrambled by RLNT. Okay, this which depends on the patch resource you have used. Okay, so after using the patch resource you choose again from the pool, and depending on that you can calculate RLNT. Accordingly, you can find out your PDCCH. Accordingly, you can read your RAR, and the RAR will include RAP ID like before, which actually has your preamble, the preamble you sent, which has an indication of your preamble. So you actually then can confirm that then uh, the random access attempt uh, is uh, uh, acknowledged by the inode B. Okay, uh, and so uh, you actually can confirm uh, the confirm your successful attempt with that. Further steps are not required, or there is no provision for really contention, right? Because you see that you have an unique preamble to use. The network must not have allocated the same preamble to anybody else. Okay, it's from the pool of dedicated preamble. Dedicated preamble means uh, it will be allocated once you allocate a preamble to someone that is not allocated to anybody else. So you use that on whatever resource you need. It is still random access because uh, you are not given a particular time frequency resource. That resource you choose uh, on your own from the available time frequency part. Okay. Uh, so it is still random access, but from there on, actually safely you can land on the inode P. Okay, if it is for handover, you can safely land on the new inode P. Uh, its response using PDCCH, and uh, you can read the RAR message. The RAR message includes your preamble, okay, an indication of your preamble. So you actually uh, can be confirmed that, or I mean, the up to this step are enough for the confirmation of successful random access. So no further steps for EU identification or contention resolution are required. You are identified, contention resolution is done. Uh, Nobody else should be able to do the same. And the timing for uh, the correction for timing and power level are also done by RMS like before. Okay, what power level it should use in the next message, or what change of timing it should use in the next message. Okay. Mm, give me a second. I might have been a little wrong. I'm sorry, but I was a little wrong. It has been a while. I uh, worked with these things. Okay. Uh, Actually, the patch resources are also indicated beforehand. It's not only the preamble. Okay. Uh, the preamble, both the preamble and patch resources uh, are known to the base station. Okay. So you use the expected preamble and resources, and you are identified both ways. Okay. Uh, so for in both cases, uh, so in this case, I said that the random access procedure is initiated only for downlink data transfer, not for uplink. So PTCC instance uh, initiates the procedure, which has the CRC scrambled by the CRNT, so you identify yourself. Okay, and the PTCC instance also includes dedicated preamble. Okay, and the patch resources you should use. So in this case, the purpose is just to have you synchronized in uplink. Okay. You are in RC connected state, but to get you synchronized, it it performs this state, and here it performs to let you access the new base station. Okay. and the UE receives a message RC connection reconfiguration. Okay. This is a very common message. We'll see this message also later several times. This is a very common message for configuration. So before you switch to the new cell, there is a command from the source cell. The source cell uh, gives you command for handover using this message, which also includes some configuration parameters. And two of them are the preamble and patch resources to be used in your random access attempt in the next cell. So you just, uh, after you receive this message, you just try random access in the new cell. That's it. Okay, questions? Questions, guys?
Yes, sir. No question, sir.
Okay. Oh, no question, you said. Okay. Then let's begin our next discussion, and that's security. Okay, you need some security in the wireless uh, signaling, wireless data transfer, because your information is in the air. And this part we'll discuss now. It is mostly covered from chapter 12 of my book. A small part is covered from chapter 7. So as I said, that there is no dedicated path uh, for any wireless communication, and so some eavesdropper can actually catch the signal. So you have to make sure that they cannot find out any information. They can get, they can receive the signal, but they cannot find information, because there can be, uh, anyone can uh, actually feel that the information uh, should not be accessed by other people, and sometimes some information is crucial. Some government people or okay, some diplomatic information. So there can be a lot of things which are actually uh, very important to be to remain protected. So basically, you need security for all types of uh, communication, uh, and in cellular communication, the over-the-air messages or the messages which uh, flow in the message or data. Okay, so we have two types: signaling messages and data, control plane information, and user plane data. So we'll see how you protect both types. Also, we will see how you have when you have a control plane information, uh, or sorry, we have access stratum and NAS layer. Okay, there's some control message in the NAS layer. So how you protect them? In access stratum, you have user data and uh, RC messages. Okay, so you have to protect them. And in NAS layer, you have NAS messages. You have some messages between you. By you, I mean UE and the MME. Okay, so you have to protect all of them. But there are two types of measures to be taken for the purpose of security. One of them is ciphering, the other is integrity protection. Well, ciphering is probably the one which all of you or most of you have been thinking of. Uh, okay. Uh, so it's just a protection that other people cannot read the information. Okay. Uh, and this type of protection always uses some secret key, and ciphering is used. So a secret key is negotiated first before you initiate the ciphering operation, as we will see. Now, ciphering is applied to user plane data, okay, and also RC messages and NAS signaling messages. Okay, so the three types I was talking about. However, for RC messages, we know that there are three types of SRBs. Okay, the messages are categorized under different radio pairs: SRB0, SRB1, and SRB2. Okay, so you can see that SRB0 is not included here because those are very early messages. You have to initiate ciphering that requires some exchange of messages. Okay, so you didn't see SRB0 here. Now, which layers apply the ciphering? Say, uh, in the lower two cases, I mean, it's within AS layer, access stratum, RC signal message, or user plane data. The PDCP layer, okay, which is the top layer within layer 2, is responsible for applying ciphering, okay, to RC messages or user plane data. And if it is NAS message, then the NAS layer applies, okay, meaning that if it is in downlink, the MMA will apply the ciphering. But what this integrity protection is? Well, it is you might not have think about it, but it is now you'll feel that it is also a requirement. See, a third party or a eavesdropper or someone with some evil intention, even if it fails to read your information, it can try to distort uh, your information or hamper your communication. How it may do it? Well, it may add some packets to your communication. It may delete some of your data packets. It may replace some of your data packets or replace whatever. Okay. So this type of things you add, you subtract, you replace. So some of the packets are changed or lost or added. So that's how you lose the actual integrity of your data content. Okay. So so definitely we don't want that. And if well, the protection of this integrity uh, uh, again has some similar approaches, and it also uses a secret key. But this integrity protection is not applied to user data; it just applied for the control plane information. It's because it's because of the uh, it's because of the importance and because of the balance between importance and processing requirement. Okay, the control plane information takes care of the processes. Uh, it takes care of the various processes for your cellular communication. So someone can, if you have this kind of things, then uh, your cellular communication itself uh, will get stuck somewhere or will be in trouble. Okay, so you do that. You do apply this integrity protection here. But if you have, if you uh, want to apply the same for your data, okay, I mean here the purpose is to keep your content integrity protected. Okay, protect the integrity of the messages. Uh, but if you want to apply the same for your all data, then the processing requirement will be too much, too much, so much that you can't handle. Okay, so you don't apply that, and you leave it up to the existing procedure that can actually detect whether there is any repetition or any deletion, if you have lost any packet, or any if you have received any duplicate packet. So all these things are actually taken care of by some layers like RLC. RLC layer does these things. Okay, so you rely on that. But this one is an attempt not to let the system do that, so that the message that, because if you have lost some, if your data is modified or some data packet is lost, then you there's also a I mean you recover them using some RLC procedure, okay, or say even Mac HARQ actually can help you do that. But uh, I mean RLC TCP, okay, so these things can do. But they are mostly RLC and TCP will help you take care of it. But here, if you have lost a message, then you are stuck right there. You are stuck right there. I mean, the communication system will be in trouble. Okay. So you make sure that I mean, these things don't happen. In the first attempt, you are success. You can successfully send the messages. Okay. Okay. If your messages are don't have the integrity protection uh, mandatory. Okay. But in most cases, you have to use. Like before, the PDCP layer applies the integrity protection to RC layer, and the NAS layer applies the integrity protection to NAS layer. So, okay, you start ciphering and integrity protection activities right after the activation. I mean, that's an the you have to activate them. We'll show how you activate, and the activation can take place once you are in RC connected state. So, and the activation can take place before the establishment of SRBT or DRBs, uh, when only SRB1 is established. But SRB0 does not have the security. Okay, I mean you're yet to activate the security, so SRB0 does not use security. Okay, okay. Now there is you need to negotiate the keys first. All the security procedure are based on two things: some key and some algorithm. You negotiate some key between both sides. Okay, I mean you want to send some information to the other end, and uh, if someone catches the signal, he cannot retrieve the information. For this purpose, the technique is that you change your data using two things: a key and an algorithm, or I mean using an algorithm, using a math, using some sort of mathematical algorithm. You change your data or you jumble your data, uh, but that modification uses a, a secret key. So if uh, the eavesdropper, okay, performs well at the other end, and the desired user knows what algorithm has been used, and it also knows the secret key. So it can perform an opposite procedure and retrieve that information. On the way, if the eavesdropper tries to recover, tries to retrieve the information, it can't, because if it can perform an opposite procedure for the algorithm. But when it uses a wrong key, the algorithm just takes you nowhere. Okay, uh, um, you are you have a long procedure which does not give you any 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 concrete result. So the algorithm makes it hard for you that you try with different keys. You try with different keys. Uh, this the bottom line is that the an algorithm based on a secret key is sufficiently strong to protect your data. So it's actually not only just one piece of key. A few things are used in the algorithm. As you'll see, 4 or 5 things are used in the algorithm. Okay, and all this will vary. One of them is the key that you have negotiated. Now let's see how you negotiate the key and actually establish some set of information to be used. That is called a security context. Okay, so it happens in the NAS layer level. You set up some security context. It is called EPS security context. Uh, uh, so let's see how you uh, EPS security in the NAS security context exists in the NAS level, and it is there. The same security context uh, exists in both RC idle and RC connected state. And when you lose your RC connection, okay, you still have it, and the context includes a key called KSM, okay, which is the root for the keys that you use for ciphering or integrity protection. Now, for AS level security context, uh, as you can see that you have the context existing only in RC connected state. When you lose the connection, RC connection, that context is deleted. Once you set up a new RC connection, a new security context will be established. Now, how you first set up this EPS NAS security context? Uh, that's a procedure called EPS authentication and key agreement. Okay, EPS AKA, and this procedure establishes the key KSM. And we'll see later that KSE, I mean, different keys are used for different purposes, but they are used for they are used with this KSME as its root. Okay. So it is used for it is used as a root for the generation of key for ciphering of NAS message. We know that there are 5 types of security measure we need. Cipher, ciphering of user data. That's it. There's no integrity protection for user data. But for RC or NAS message, you do both ciphering and integrity protection. So you need keys for them. So all these 5 keys are generated using KSM as the root. Okay. Now, the way you do, well, The MME, uh, the EPS AK procedure typically takes place during the attach procedure and tracking area update procedure. Okay. Uh, and you have the network initiates the procedure, uh, and after completion of the procedure, the security context is established. It uses a permanent key which is stored in your SIM, and on the network side, the same key is stored. Okay, so is the basic secret thing. It is available in your SIM, so the eavesdropper should know about it. Okay, uh, and we spoke of HSS, Home Subscription Server, which previous in 2G or 3G days it used to be called HLR, Home Location Register. Okay, so this one includes your user profile. Okay, for every user, it's a database. It stores information for the users, and a part of HSS uh, is authentication center. Okay, so that stores information for authentication purposes. So this one stores the same information, the basic secret key, okay, which is a permanent key. It's 128 bits long. So in the beginning, the MME obtains the authentication information from HSS, okay, and for this purpose, the MME sends an authentication information request to the HSS, and HSS returns this key, and this information, when the MME sends the information, the request to the HSS, it sends your identity, the globally unique identity, MCC, MNC, MC. Uh, so the e- authentication center can identify the UE and returns uh, authentication vector. Uh, the authentication vector includes quite a few things. Uh, so the HSS uh, actually generates a few things, okay, which are uh, in a combined way. It is called authentication vector, okay, and that authentication vector is sent back to the MME. So let's see what you have in there. Uh, these are generated using the permanent key. Now, one of them is you see there are four things: random challenge, an authentication token, XRS, KSI, okay, key set identifier. Uh, so MME receives this authentication vector from the HSS, and then the MME sends authentication request message to the UE. That message includes three of them: this challenge, random challenge, rand, authentication token, AUTN, and KSI, or key set identifier. Well, the USIM verifies. I mean, there is also a procedure. I mean, someone may uh, uh, actually think it funny, but it's also a part of this procedure that you also identify. You also, uh, I mean, approve the network. Okay. Normally, you may be thinking of your approval from the network end, or the network approves you as a valid user. Okay. But you see, there's also one step in the whole. It's also part of registration. Okay. I mean, after initial attach, uh, as a part of the initial attach, these things happen, or right after you power up, these things happen. Uh, so it's not a part of registration, but before you do the registration, you need this security activation. But you see, so there is one step where you uh, verify whether or not the network is, uh, I mean, there is a valid reception. There is there is someone valid who is intervening, okay, who is sending you the signals, because someone could impersonate, okay, uh, like so in disguise, okay, he could send you some signal, and you feel like that is from a valid network, and you proceed. Okay. So that doesn't happen when you receive AUTN. You know that that AUTN is generated using your identity and all that. Okay, so uh, you can verify that it's a valid network. Then the USIM will compute something which is called race. Okay, and like here X race is calculated by the MME, okay, or by the actual HSS. From the network side, X race is calculated. Uh, but it is not, it is sent to the MME, but MME didn't forward it. MME forwarded RAND, but the K, the permanent key or K, is known uh, to the EV as well. So the EV can calculate actually the same X-rays using RAND and K. This X-rays is calculated using this RAND and the permanent key K. Okay, but X-rays is not forwarded to the EV. The EV again, EV now calculates the same, actually the same thing. Now it is, we are calling it race, but it is the same thing. It calculates using K and RAM, and the eSIM also calculates two things for ciphering and integrity protection, CK and IK, using the same two things, K and RAM. Finally, the EV calculates KSM. Uh, that's the key that they will be. Uh, uh, I mean, both sides will be using as the root for the generation of all other security keys. Uh, so once it generates all these things, race, CK, IK, KSME, uh, it has completed generation of the necessary things, and this whole thing, all this set of things will be considered as the context, EPS NAS security context. And the MME, you know, has already HSS has generated XRS, and MME received that, and uh, the KSME is also calculated there. Okay, which can be calculated using K and RAND. So that this both of these things are also known at the EV end, network end. Okay. Now the network will identify you using this race. You have calculated race, and you'll send it to the network. The EV sends authentication response to the MME, which includes race. The MME receives the same race, which here we call X race from HSS. Okay. If they match, okay, both are just generated using RAND and permanent key K. If they match, then the MME knows for sure that it's you who has sent. Okay. the message. So the authentication message is then the authentication response message is actually authenticated. And if it is okay, so once it finds that okay, they match, then the EV is authenticated. And the KSME, which the network has also calculated, is kept within its NAS security context. But you see, the KSME has not been shared over the air. I mean, it was not sent over the air. There was no exchange of KSME directly. Both sides created and stored. Okay, so and this KSISME is also stored. You see that the EV generates uh, K the KSI the EV received from the KSISME is different from KSME. KSISME. This one the EV received from the MME. So this one it stores and also KSME. Both of them it stores. This completes the APS AKA procedure. Now you'll see how you activate. Okay, this key set identifier is used to indicate the validity, whether or not it is still the NAS security context, whether or not it is still valid. Okay, once as long as it is valid, the same KASME, the same root can still be used. Okay, if it is not if the uh, validity expires, the next security context is no longer valid. If it is the case, then you have to invoke the whole EPS AKA procedure again. Okay, which requires all these messages. Here is a flow of all these messages. Authentication information request, it responds with the vector, and then MME. Uh, okay, you send authentication request to the EV, and the EV sends you the response. Okay. Uh, but they are this message transports these NAS messages. Okay. Sorry. Give me a second. Okay. So whenever you set up a NAS signaling connection, the EV includes this KSISME in the initial NAS message to indicate that the NAS security context is still valid. Okay. So the network checks on the KSISME if you have the, I mean, it says that okay, the same KSISME is uh, it has sent, and so then the old KSME, the old root, it starts using. Now, security in NAS layer. So you need key for ciphering of NAS message and key for integrity protection of NAS message. Uh, th- for these purposes, the MME selects an algorithm for integrity and for ciphering. I mean, two algorithms it selects. Uh, and the EV previously actually informs what security and integrity protection algorithms is supported. Okay, and EVB selects uh, from there. Okay, one of the supported algorithms, two of the supported algorithms are actually selected. Okay, for, for these two purposes, and the supported algorithms are listed in the order of priority from the UEN, and the MME may select the one with the highest priority. Then there will be exchange of messages for security activation. You see that the MME sends a security mode command to the EV, and the EV responds with a security mode complete message. Okay. Uh, that security mode command includes KSI SME, okay, uh, as well as the algorithms, the indication of which algorithms are to be used. This security mode command is not ciphered, but it can be, uh, but it is integrity protected with the NAS integrity key based on KSM. Okay, this paragraph is not very important for us. Okay, too much detail. Uh, when mm, the EV, okay, actually, I think I missed some slide. How you generate? After this exchange of messages, the ciphering and is integrity are applied, and here you see, I mean, the first message was only the common message was only integrity protected, but when the UE response, that message is both ciphered and integrity protected. But that's not very important. Okay, from then onward, all the NAS signal messages are integrity protected ciphered. But the the keys for deciphering and integrity protection. I think I have missed some other slide. Um, Okay, okay. Anyway, the keys for integrity or safety protections are generated using KSME, and normally other parameters can also be used here in the key generation. Okay, but probably I limited the detail and I didn't include that for NAS case. Okay, because our focus was for the access stratum. Okay, so the as layer I described in more detail, but time is up. Just 3 minutes. Now for security in AS layer, you have to activate security there. So the eNodeB receives a uh, specific key KENB, okay, from the MME. The MME sends this key to the eNodeB to for use for this for the particular EV, and the eNodeB creates a security context for the EV. Okay, then
Sir, we have class now. It's better if you can stop now.
oh, okay, yeah. Well, do you have any questions anyway? It would be better if you could finish this whole part. Uh, but anyway, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, then we have a class test tonight, and we'll meet then. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. So,
Sir, how long is the class test?
Uh, the exact time I'll tell you later, but not longer than half an hour.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.